whiteboard reset.
What's your name? What's your name? Let me do it from here. Give me your name.
Let me send it on chat.
Okay. If hot 11, you are going to go out of this class if you can't get your name on screen, please. Drop your name on chat. Let me help you with the changing of your name now if you have an issue with that. We can't have anybody we don't know in this class. It's a very expensive class. And we cannot have people. So I've done Chukwuemeka, Chukwuka, right? Rene.
Yes, Rene Emeka.
Good. Okay, so I've renamed your screen.
Then one
please.
more thing, sir. I'm here with two of my.
Okay, three of you are in that same screen, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. David Thomas and Gideon Ekere.
Okay. You are from which company?
We are from UPDC FM and what?
Okay. Miracle, please make a note of this group, yeah? I'm not very familiar with everybody that registered for the class. You'll be the one dealing with that. Infinix Hot 11, your screen is not on and your name is wrong. Do you want to be in the class or you want to be out? Can you please speak? Let me know who is there behind Infinix Hot 11. Okay, so you have to remove Infinix Hot 11 from the class. For silence, no face, and wrong name. Take that out of the class. Thank you. And then put in the group that everybody should observe the rules of the class strictly. Very important. We cannot negotiate that. You cannot be in this class and be absent-minded. You cannot be double tasking. You cannot be doing anything else. There's just no chance that we can impact sufficiently on you if you are trying to do two things at the same time. It's not going to work. Okay? You need to be attentive. You need to be present. You need to be able to take notes. So your notepads and pens, beside you, because you will need to be able to talk to us. We need to have a conversation around the practical things we'll be discussing immediately the presentation is done. Okay, so it's very important that we are present and attentive and can participate. Okay, thank you very much for your cooperation. I still expect Daniel and Festus to do us and Perry to do us this honor so we can move on with the class. Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I hear you, Perry. Go ahead.
I'm having a challenge starting my video.
Starting your video?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you can do next time is join the class 10 minutes early. Everybody that has this issue of naming their screen, starting their video, join the class 10 minutes early. Let's help you out resolve those little issues before the class starts. Okay? So that by 5 sharp, we start talking and we'll not have time to be dealing with issues. Daniel, your hand is up. And we hear what you have to say.
I think my screen is.
You have named yourself Mr. Daniel. What's your surname? Daniel what? Daniel, we need a second name.
I don't know how many Daniel we have here because I'm Daniel Ekwere. Are you talking to me?
Yes, I think you're Daniel Ekwere that I should help us. Your name. No, Daniel Ekwere. Are you the one that just spoke now?
No. Daniel, you can see, yes. My name and surname is displaying correctly.
Okay, so it looks as if I have changed the wrong Daniel's name. Daniel, can you please tell me the other Daniel that is not Ekwere, what's your surname?
I think you changed the wrong Daniel because
that's what I'm saying. Give me your own Daniel. Daniel, what's your surname, please?
You need to unmute him. It's like he's on mute. Unmute
Daniel
him.
what?
Daniel Ajadi is in. Our
Okay,
technician on site. Yes, sir.
he's the one that has his hand up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for can you please, do you need help lowering your hand to Daniel? Okay, so I'm going to just be helping everybody out. We're starting over. Please, let's do this whole Zoom awareness thing 10 minutes before class. Okay, so we'll not have to use our time. There's a lot to cover today, and I want to get right straight into it. Now, based on the registration we did on Monday, we're supposed to come in here in the first 15 minutes, have conversations, get to know ourselves, see ourselves face to face. So if I see a Rita, if I see a Festus on screen, I should be able to identify you, anywhere else. The introductions we did on the introduction we did on Monday, we'll do it again today on the chat. So this is on Monday we had people who were not even paid yet, but today we have bona fide students. So on the chat, please put your name, your company, and your role and your city or your location. Can we please do that now as we are coming into the class? Let me just put the guide on today's introduction again. So full name, company, organization, role, location. Please do that on the chat now as we roll into today's session. Okay. Amira, thank you. I see you. Welcome. Were you here on Monday? You were. Okay.
Yes, I was.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Let me see. So this is one class that ladies are going to be very scarce in. So I hope the other ladies will join. I think that there are quite a few that are supposed to be here. I see Rita still in transit. But let's all plan every time this class is holding to please be in position, okay? In our position for the class. So we don't have to be turning off our videos. I'm just going to share my screen and get us right into today. Let's cover, and I want to get straight into it. And like I said, I want every class to be full. Start on time and finish on time. So we all need to be here, everyone on time. 5 sharp, the class starts. So everybody joins the class 10 minutes to 5 and 5 sharp. So that all the conversation we can have, before 5 o'clock will be helpful. Let's have those conversations. But by 5 sharp, we should be able to hit the lesson for the day. Today, we're trying to introduce you into facility management. But I'm not just going to be defining facility management and telling you what facility management is and leave you because that's an introductory class. No. Today's class, we're going to be looking at some strategies, practical strategies for you to hit the ground running as a professional facility manager. So after just this 2-hour session, you should be able to change some ways you do things right now on the field. You should be able to adjust your understanding of certain FM processes. You should be able to understand a lot of basic terminologies. These are terminologies you will use consistently throughout your career as a facility manager. And these are globally recognized terminologies that you're going to be learning in this class, okay? And into this session, you'll be learning more like a scope, a summary scope of what this profession is about. So I want to pay attention. At the end of 90 minutes, I'll throw the field open again and allow you turn on your mics and your videos to ask your questions and have a conversation. But for now, what you need to do is please have your notepad and pen, because if you will not interrupt me when I'm teaching, right? So and if you wait for 90 minutes, you might forget what you wanted to say. So that's the first reason why you should have a note pen and book, a notepad and pen beside you. Okay. Secondly, do not try to copy what you see on the slide. You already have the slides in your LMS, right? But you must write down any significant new knowledge you grasp. So if something hits you, like I didn't understand it that way, or this is new, or this is sounding unique, please pause and write it down. This is how learning is achieved, right? Don't allow anything significant or unique that comes to you to glide through. You will forget. It will not sink in properly. Write it down. And then finally, a question, not even finally, I see one more. A question might come out of what you hear. You hear an acronym, for example, and you probably don't know what that acronym is. I've been in a class where we use HSC, and somebody doesn't know what HSC is. Please do not just assume that one way or the other you'll find out later. Write it down, what is HSC? Because you need to ask that question at the end of the class. And finally, there are things you are dealing with right now as a facility manager. There are things in your operations, there are activities, there are engagements, there are stakeholder issues, there are technical matters you are trying to deal with right now that are probably posing some challenges for you. And you hear something that is practically going to help you act and change that situation for you. Stop and write down an action statement. I will tell to so and so, I will call so and so, I will do this and that. Write it down relating to that issue that you have received an inspiration from because of what you are hearing. So what do you write down? 1, new knowledge, significant, impactful content that hits you. Write it down. 2, questions. No matter how insignificant the questions are, write them down immediately. Now, those questions might be answered during the course of the presentation, which is fine. But the fact that you wrote it down and got an answer later, you can note the answer against it, then you have learned it. And then thirdly, the things you need to do differently as a result of what you are learning, note them down. Okay, this is a way to embed what you are learning into the things you do. Because if you cannot begin to immediately make changes on the way you do your job from today, from the day you hear the message, then this will be a wasted effort. Okay. And finally, we told you part of our orientation that once you finish a class, there's usually going to be a set of questions at the end of the slide deck. Answering those questions immediately is the requirement. We say they are due before Wednesday, 5 p.m. when we start the next class. But the best bet is answer them immediately this class is over. So you just, go back through the slide, your memory is still fresh, you answer the 10 questions, and you put the answer in a Word or PDF document format. Save it as the course name and your surname. So Erubami FM Foundation, for example, FM Foundation Assessment, Erubami FM Foundation Assessment is the file name for me if I'm the one doing this FM Foundation and doing that assessment. Save it and then go back to your LMS and upload it into that space where it says upload assessment and assignments. Okay. Once you do that, first you have learned, you have heard, you have digested, you have taken down notes. Second, you have tested yourself by doing that quick assessment and you have submitted, right? That reinforces what you have learned, and then you begin to act on the things you've noted as your action items, and then you are good for practice or for professionalism. So I'm saying all of this now because it's very important we know how to embed practical knowledge. Some people take training programs and nothing much changes in them, not much impact in them. And this is because somehow they were allowed to take the training the way they felt like, double task, double book, lack of focus, not practicalizing what they are learning immediately. And within months down the line, they are not able to deliver practical FM work because they were not paying attention or not doing the right thing when the training was going on. So we don't allow that to happen in Max-Migold, because at the end of the day, we are ultimately accountable for how you succeed in this profession. Okay. And that's what we signed up to do. All right. So I'll go straight into it. I'm sure most of you know me. Paul Erubami is my name, and I've always been a facility manager. I'm not sure I had enough time to give you so much about myself during the orientation, because I wanted all the facilitators to, to talk and really, show their faces and tell you what they'll be doing for you during the program. I need to just give you a bit of the philosophy, what drives me in doing what I'm doing. I could have easily focused on, making money in the industry. Of course, everybody wants to make money, but giving back, building competencies is going to do two important things. And that's my major philosophy. One is going to help us build a bigger pie for the industry. The more professionals we have in the industry, the more recognition, the larger projects, the more pay rises for everybody, the more FM becomes a real strategic enabler of business success. So it's a larger pool for everybody. Secondly, everybody that comes through this program is impacted positively for life. For life. It's what you're paying for is, I want career advancement. I want to earn higher. I want to excel and be known for something important in my profession. But what we are giving you is a complete turnaround. How you think, how you act and speak, not just professionally, but personally. You build character by going through this program. And those two things, building the industry and building the individual, they are what drives my passion in doing what I'm doing. And so no matter how many times you encounter me in classes or in field operations or professional association activities, you will find this passion coming through. My hope is that I can share the vision. I can infect everyone with this same passion and let our FM industry, excel to greater heights from this. So this FM Foundation course is going to help you understand what FM is, the various categorizations of services in the FM industry, and most important to the key strategy of operational excellence in facility management. These are the things we're going to be covering in this 60, 70 minutes or more that I have left with this session with you. So I'm going to dive straight into it. When you think about facility management, you still have a lot of ignorance about what it's about. Many people think it's about the building and the maintenance of the building. That's just one little bit of it. But if you think about it in terms of the people and what they want to do in life, in jobs, in play areas, in whatever human beings do, and you as FM coming to enable that to happen. So what are the key things human beings do? We work, we play, we worship, when we are even dead, we are buried, right? Somewhere. All of these are all require some form of space for it to happen. Every time this requirement is to be provided, there has to be some level of functionality, some services, some seamless flow from one step to the other in everything we do in all aspects of life. FM is beyond building. FM is about enabling humanity. And so when we get to the definition, the ISO definition, you will get a deeper sense of how FM is way beyond just buildings, right? It's one aspect of it, but the buildings themselves are built, developed, set up, installed to enable human beings achieve their ultimate objectives of living and working. Okay, so some definitions. You can all have your own definition of FM, but some people have defined FM as the team that coordinates and integrates physical resources, space, and the working areas or condition of an organization. FM offers the services that support the core business. FM assists in meeting the objective of the organization by the cost-effective provision and proactive management of spaces and services within the law in such a way as to enable the users to operate safely, effectively, and efficiently. Very comprehensive, if you ask me. The practice of coordinating the physical workspace with the people and work of the organization, integrating the principles of business administration, architecture, and the behavioral and engineering sciences. Fantastic definitions, right? But this is what the world came together to say, okay, with all these many definitions, let's really look deeply into FM. And in this International Standardization Organization, ISO 41011-2017, the ISO definition was finally created. So if you want to define FM now, if you're asked to define facility management, use the ISO definition. Not that every definition is not correct, because they all have one way or the other of looking at FM, but this is the one that encapsulates everything. Facility management is an organizational function which integrates people, place, and process within the built environment with the purpose of improving the quality of life of people and the productivity of the core business. Think about why we do all the things we do. When somebody says, oh, we are administrators, oh, we provide physical spaces, oh, we do this, we do that. All of them are what we do, sometimes how we do it. But the highest level of consideration of any endeavor, the highest level of context is why we do what we do. The purpose of improving the life of people and the productivity of the core business. So, people and the organization that make all the investments. We want the people to have an improved quality of life. Now, so if you think about improved quality of life, what comes to mind? Is it just about providing tables and chairs and air conditioning? And no, it goes beyond that. You think about health and safety. You think about no hazard, no accident. You think about mental well-being. You think about security. You think about so many things. So many things. Improving the quality of life of people. This definition elevates you from the shop floor consideration. Let's say you are a facility manager, in charge of a generating plant, and all you think about is, oh, the battery, oh, the alternator, oh, this and that and that and that, and that's all we are doing. By the time you realize that your job is to improve quality of life, you will now start getting concerned with how loud the generator is, how the smoke from the gen is affecting certain people who are inhaling it, how the vibration is too much, how there are sustainable ways of providing energy that do not require us to pollute so much. You are elevating yourself because you've realized your job is now beyond providing power to improving quality of life. That's one angle. The second part to it is the productivity of the core business. A business health is often determined by, one, the people that make up the organization. Not just their health, but their well-being. So that again, it comes embedded in the productivity of the core business, because it's healthy people that are productive people. Now, productivity of core business also requires that implies that the organization is profitable, it's achieving its goals, whatever those bottom lines are. So an FM is not just there to take the money, spend it to provide the assets. No. We must provide value. We must be cost efficient. We must contribute to the bottom line of the organization. So in improving the quality of life of people, by making them more productive, so they will do more. We also look at the organization itself. It's spending money on assets that we are responsible for managing. How do we think we can contribute to the productivity of the organization? Life cycle consideration. More more long-term thinking and in decision making, with deeper analysis using data, so that no kobo is lost. Nothing we do does not speak value. Everything we do aligns to the strategic objectives of the organization. So we look at management and say, what does this organization really want to achieve? How can my provision of generator, how can my provision of gardening services, how can my provision of water contribute to this high level objective? If you think deeply enough, have the right data and do the right analysis, you will see how you can contribute to improve the productivity of the organization. So that's why this is the most profound definition of facility management. It talks to why we do the things we do in the built environment. When it comes to the how and what we do, I said there are lower levels of considerations. So we provide cleaning, we provide support, we provide property services, we provide maintenance, we provide catering services, we provide security services. All of these are all components, services that we need to bring in at different times to fulfill why that we talked about earlier on. And if you look at all of these myriad of services, you think FM is so broad. Yes, FM is so broad. FM is everything that is not the core business of the organization. So if a bakery produces and sells bread, that's their core business. Everything that enables them produce and sell bread is facility management. So they need water, they need a clean environment. They want to ensure that no pests in the space. They want to ensure that the place it does not smell. They want to ensure that dust is kept down. They want to ensure that the place is well vented, not overheating, and so on and so forth. All of that are support systems that the FM provides. And that's why FM is one of the biggest professions in the world, even though it's still new and not highly recognized in our client. For example, you'll find out that every other business, every organization requires the services of FMs, whether you're in banking, retail malls, hotels, think about manufacturing plants, factories, farms, printing presses, just name any kind of organization. They all have their core business and they need support services. They need clean environments. They need secure environments. They need health and safety. They need someone to watch their backs from risk. They need electricity to get things done. They need, just think about it. A whole lot depends on you. But do not think of your job as an outsider's job. Because I'm not a banker, therefore I'm an outsider. If I don't understand banking, I cannot provide facility management properly to support the banker. The same thing with the design engineering office or a law office. If I don't understand what they do, I don't understand what they're trying to achieve, my FM will be off target. Okay, so in consideration, always think about what you do in terms of how it adds value to the organization's productivity and its people's quality of life improvement. Okay. We say FM is a new profession, started in the 80s or recently, but looking back through the ages, you'll find there has always been need to have functionality for every kind of space that humans occupy, whether on Earth or in space. And this functionality, this flow, the reason why you don't eat in the same place where you sleep, or go to the toilet in the same place where you receive visitors and so on and so forth, it's because there's that differentiation and functionality that has been planned from time. And this is what facility management enables for humanity. So let's talk about you as a facility manager. I've just given you a very wide scope of consideration, and some people are thinking, so this FM is so broad. Am I sure I can do this? Of course you can. The key distinction I try to give you is in all that array of things that form the FM practice, Use one single differentiation, the core versus the non-core. For every organization, there is a core business and there's a non-core enabling function that supports the core business. All of that is FM. So whether you find yourself in logistics, whether you find yourself in corporate services, procurement, administrative services, internal services, support services, receptions, just name it, transportation and the rest, you are providing facility management services to the organization. So it's very broad. And because of this broad range of activities that make up FM, you need technical skills. And basically technical skills, not because you should become a technician or an engineer, no. You cannot manage what you don't understand. So for me to manage a building, I need to know what makes up a building. I need to be able to document common defects in the building. I need to come up with solutions on what needs to be solved in the building. I might not be the hands-on person who's going to turn the spanners and pull this. No, FM does not start at the shop floor. We start our profession managing people who are at the shop floor. And that's why if you're a technician and you're a cleaning supervisor, schedule supervisor, and you are taking an FM training, it's because you want to elevate up. Even if you are an experienced engineer in air conditioning system and you are still directly involved in air conditioning installations and repair and rest, you are below the level of a facility manager because the facility manager is a resource organizer. It's an enabler of a system that produces a utility for the end user. Okay? And so you need technical skills. You need to be able to scope. If somebody tells you, your air conditioning has a problem and you will need to replace the carburetor, for example, you should know that, that's not a component in an air conditioner, right? Or somebody tells you, there's this particular tool and it mentions maybe something that you used to hear of in the laboratory as a tool for doing an electrical job. You know that that's not a tool for electrical job because one, you have become familiar with the components, you have become aware of what can go wrong, you can easily diagnose and scope issues. It is because you have shown interest in the assets, the equipment you've been given to manage. And you have taken time to read things like the manuals that come with them. You just installed the new air conditioning system and you see these manuals to put all over the place. Each one comes with one. The FM has not taken the time to even if you just 30 minutes to 1 hour, browse through, look at the common diagnostic issues you could think about. So people just have a little remote issue. They didn't set the remote properly and they'll be calling technician. Call out for work to be done. Whereas all they needed to do was just read the manual and know when that particular time is up. This is what you should do. Okay? So technical knowledge is important. And then with that technical knowledge, you have there are a few other aspects of technical knowledge that includes some of the things we do, like assessments, certain analysis that will be required of you, life cycle cost analysis and the rest. And then managerial skills, you manage resources, financial resources, the assets, the tools, the inventory, the consumables. You must be able to account for them. You must be able to justify their purchase or procurement. You must be able to look at how to demonstrate value through analysis. You must be able to coordinate tasks, handle inspections without having issues, and so on and so forth. So as facility manager, you need managerial skills. And then this is the most important and even the most critical skill, interpersonal skills. You are there to serve people. You are there to serve people. Communication, being able to understand their requirements, translating that understanding into solutions that meet their needs, communicating how you are delivering these solutions, and getting their buy-in and their good feedback, positive feedback. That's just one aspect of it. People you serve, you have bosses and managers who will have their own personalities, have their own issues, have different things that may not, gel with you as a person. And you're going to start fighting and kicking against the pricks. No. You have to understand how to work with people above you. You must know what funds them, what satisfies the results. You must know what they are trying to achieve so you can know how to support and contribute. Whatever those you work with, those under your vendors, your workers, you just take for granted and say, oh, they're workers. Whatever I tell them they will do. You must think in everything we do as FM, the weakest link that we have is the next person that we need to depend on, that we need to report to, that we need to give service to. What do they think? How are they responding? How are they acting? We are ultimately accountable for the final results. And as such, we cannot have an excuse why something did not work. So we must have interpersonal skills. In a nutshell, there has been recent studies to just understand what are the skills, what are the core competencies for facility managers globally. And these 11 competencies came out of surveys that have been done twice now, globally, 2009 and 2019, just to find out what are the competencies you as a facility manager must acquire, must have to be a good facility manager. Communication, leadership and sustainability, finance and business, human factors, leadership and strategy, operations and maintenance, project management, quality, real estate and property management, and technology. In another class, I'm going to dive into each of them one by one and give you a broader understanding of how these competencies are going to drive your profession. So as an FM, you take care of people, take care of resources, take care of building, and coordinate all of them like an orchestra conductor, ensuring that you can produce one experience for the end user. The end user comes into your building, it doesn't need to know who is in charge of 20 different things. The responsibilities make up a very vast array, but you work with a network. You are supposed to be a coordinator of that network. So in essence, your brain will always be working like, one, I understand what the end user wants. That's like one experience. But what makes up that experience? Cleaning, security, health and safety, water, cooling, supplies, this, that. You must be on top of all of them equally. That's your role as an FM. And the assets you manage, they go through a cycle from when they are acquired to when they are discarded or disposed of. The services you provide and the assets you use to provide those services, they are not ends by themselves or in themselves. They are means to the ends of utility of value requested by the end user. If an end user, think about a common thing within facility, will provide energy. If you always think in terms of solar generator, transformer, you're missing the point. Start from what exactly does my end user want? It needs energy. It is from there I build up to the best way using different analysis to provide energy to power the life of this individual that I'm managing, right? So that's endpoint, that asset itself, how long do I want it to run for? How stable, and so on and so what maintenance approaches can I deploy? All of these now are what I now consider when deciding what to bring on, how to manage them. But bottom line is, I start with what my customer really needs. What my customer really needs is the utility of value from what I give. And if I'm thinking about that, I become smarter, because if I provide power, and the power, maybe the voltage is too low or too high, or the fluctuation is too much and things are burning down, would I say I provided power? No, I wouldn't say I provided power, because I know I should now understand exactly the kind of specific equipment the client has, the kind of duration they want power to be run for certain things, and the kind of quality expectation they have. That will not determine what I'm putting together. Oh, this particular one, I need to have a stabilizer, or I need to have a phase correction mechanism. I need to have this and that built into the system I'm designing for my client, because I know what my client is going to do with it. Okay, so your duties, it's easy to grasp. Many of us have letters we've been issued that says this is your duty and that's your duty, right? But please think about what doing your duty provides to the end user or to the organization. And that's what brings you to the strategic contribution thinking. FM is not supposed to be a downtrodden profession, because we are strategic enablers. But if we don't think about what we do in terms of that level of strategic enablement of the organization and the individuals, then we will be contributing to the writing of FM as cleaners and maintainers. Our jobs go way above that, and that's the thing I want us to understand. Okay, we play strategic roles in directly impacting the bottom line of the organization. Now, think about it. What is the profitability of an organization? All that revenue less all the expenses equals profits. If you consider what we do as FM, we are heavy on the expenses side. If we spend wisely, smartly, continually showing value, we will not only support increasing revenue, we will support containing costs and increasing profitability. So as FMs, don't think of yourself as someone who just takes money to go and spend. No. Think about how that spending adds to revenue generation, adds to cost reduction, and improves profitability. So we provide operational efficiency and financial savings, in addition to the improvement of quality of life that has a ripple effect on the productivity of the people, for the productivity of the organization. All right, so in terms of a broad breakdown of facility management, there are this simple classification we have called the hard FM and the soft FM. Hard FM is the tangible aspects of building management, like the air conditioning, electrical networks, plumbing systems. Soft FMs are services that make the environment pleasant and safe for occupants: cleaning, landscaping, security, garden, and the rest. So they're very broad. It's a very broad way of breaking it down. Don't see it as technical versus non-technical. Don't see it as important versus unimportant. They are all equally technical. They are all equally important. One cannot go without the other. In fact, if you want to feel the direct impact of FM in an individual's life, the soft services are the most obvious ones. If a place is dirty, no matter how cool you keep the place or how much light you beam on the place, if it's dirty, it's dirty. They'll say FM is zero, isn't it? So think about it, that they are both equal in terms of value to the organization. But how you design the hard services and you design the soft services now depends on what the individual, the people, the organization is doing with that space. So that's why we call the hard services building systems. They are built into the building. They are built in because of the building. But soft services are built in, designed, organized, planned, scoped according to the activities and requirements of the users of the space. And because There are no regulatory bodies that restrict people from coming into facility management. All comers have entered into the profession, and it now looks as if anybody can just wake up and say, I'm a facility manager. There are two things to pay attention to here. One, there are standards, industry standards. Only those who go through trainings like these, participate in professional associations, get the exposure to those standards and can do it right. That everyone else will be a quack. That's the first thing. Secondly, there is the building code. Every country have a building code. There are standards for how dwelling places, office, workshops, factories, all kinds of infrastructure and buildings are supposed to be built to certain standards. FMs are the custodians of those standards. So if you take over, think about it, a developer builds, doesn't provide fire safety installations, doesn't provide sewage management systems and so on and so forth. What happens? People move in and the FM steps up and he doesn't flag up and fix through condition assessments and other audits to pick up what is wrong to fix them. If something happens in that facility tomorrow, what happens? The FM is held liable, right? What if the FM does not even know what those standards are, does not even know the kind of requirements for fire, for sewage, for environmental protection, for energy conservation and all that's in the building? That becomes a crisis situation. And that's why being a quack facility manager does not provide results for the organization. In fact, it costs the organization a lot more in sanctions and costs and discomfort and poor productivity and losses. All right, so facility management is made up of, your focus really is on people. And these people want to use their property or places to do whatever they have to achieve their goals. We as facility managers get involved and develop processes and bring in technology to help make that people and place integration seamless. People are very crucial. FM is about managing people, the perception of those you are serving, perception of those working with you, perception of your bosses is what all about. If you satisfy somebody, the person's perception it comes back to you in form of a feedback. It's not just about technical skills. We are more managers than technicians, as FMs. So if you elevate your thinking, your reasoning, your analysis, your decision-making patterns to focus more on people in facility management, you will get a whole lot of results. You achieve a whole lot of results, right? Everyone you interact with in the facility, whether those you serve, those you work with, your vendors, your neighbors, your bosses, every stakeholder, they are customers to you as a facility manager. We are there to serve all of these stakeholders. And so we'll be learning, different skills, mostly communication, stakeholder management, leadership, some of the skills that will help us to manage people as we go on in this program. And then success on a large scale is all about the process. Starts with the conception, moves on through different activities that are done in the organization. FM also applies processes to get things done, and you learn all of the processes in the FM Mastercraft program. Every process is interconnected. From the point you take over a facility, you develop an asset register, you do a condition assessment to identify all the defects, you carry out a maintenance plan that is based on the asset register and so on and so forth. Everything together as one program of services to help the organization succeed. As FM, our business is to get things done right, get them done well, on time, at the least possible cost and time required, because you could be implementing processes that are wasteful. Efficiency and effectiveness. Effectiveness talks to the strategic achievement of the organization's goals, which is we are able to enable the accomplishment of why the organization is set up, why the individual is trying to perform that activity. We are also able to do that efficiently, quickly, and cheaply. It's not at any cost. It has to be reasonable. And of course, when it comes to the place, we're talking about the assets. Do I understand what I'm managing? What size, what scope, what description, how many, how long has it been, what warranty, how many square meters, how many liters, what's the capacity of this and that for virtually every asset. That's where the asset register comes in. And then in what condition are they, the condition assessment that comes in. We work with technology. Technology is evolving. The buildings themselves are evolving. The systems we use to manage the buildings are also evolving. Okay, so the era of logbooks and ledgers to get things done moved into spreadsheets and moved into software, and now we are in the age of AI, AR, and so on and so forth. These are all technologies that helps to move the world along, and we must stay ahead of the curve. So as facility managers, we think about the four key elements of FM: people, process, place, and technology. None of them function in isolation. Their true power lies in how they interact and integrate to create a cohesive and efficient facility management strategy. People are the core, driving processes and making decisions that affect the physical environment, the place, and implementation of technology. Processes provide a structured approach to managing facilities, ensuring consistency and efficiency. The place of the physical environment is where these processes are executed, and it must be optimized to support the people who use it. Ultimately, it's all about the people. And then we talk about technology being an enabler. And when we integrate all of this, FM becomes a proactive, responsive solution to achieving organizational goals. All right, so get to the juice of today's lesson as we look into strategies to foster operational excellence in facility management. But before then, we'll just observe a brief 5 minute break. Okay. So if the introductions have not finished, I'm seeing introductions have only gone very few in the chat. Can we please have more introductions on the chat? We will observe a 5 minute break. Can someone please indicate on the chats that we are on break while the introductions continue? I'll be right back. Thank you. Me? All right, we're getting back on. I hope we're still here. All right, please confirm that you hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
We can hear you, sir. Awesome. So let's talk about strategies for
We can hear you.
operational excellence. Yes, thank you so much. Confirm. Start with core principles of operational excellence. As facility managers, our first core principle of operational excellence is customer value. I know that we want to run a business, especially for those of us in the service delivery industry. But your business will not be sustainable, cannot progress if you are not thinking customer value. Even if you are serving within an organization, taking budget from the organization to provide solutions within the organization, you must always think customer value. Process efficiency. Is there any wastage? Is there anything that can be done to reduce the current costs and maintain quality or maintain specifications as prescribed by the customer? Continuous improvements. Can we do things continually better than we have done it in the past? Proactive problem solving. Can we continuously or repeatedly foresee problems that could have occurred and solve them without them ever occurring? Some very simple things that are easily overlooked. Just yesterday, one of our sites, I was talking to a carpenter. Usually when you fix a door handle, you just put a screw and screw it in, right? And that's normal. That's how the doors are made. You put one screw in through here, put another screw in through there, and screw the handle or the faceplate of that door handle into the door. But if you think about what are the likely issues this door handle, this door may have, the handle falling off, or sometimes the mortise misaligning, or sometimes it stops closing properly. What can you do now while fixing it? What change can you put in place now? Can you use a bolt and nut approach where the screw comes out on the other end and it's locked in with a bolt from the other end? That ties it in place and keeps it firm for longer. What have I just done? I've solved a future problem. You hear a flapping noise. The machine is still working, no problem. Everything is still producing fine. But that flapping noise is coming from a belt that is only so slightly misaligned. Stop the machine, put a new belt, tighten that pulley bolts and nuts. You've solved the future problem. It's not enough for us as facility managers to wait until something breaks before we solve the problem. We can anticipate problem. We can pick out signals from vibration levels that have changed, from noise levels that have changed, from creaking sound from chairs, from all kinds of things. Little slight shaking of a handrail. You don't wait. Can we streamline operations? instead of going first to check the problem, coming back to scope the repairs, and then going to get the tools, and then going back to fix it. That's like 4 steps. What if I go with the tools when I'm going to check on the problem? And because I have the tools with me, it is possible for me to resolve very simple issues instead of going through 3 more steps before coming to resolve it. Streamlining operations, minimizing waste. You have a simple filtration system that can be used to filter certain sewage from gray water from showers and hand wash, and filter them. Instead, you allow everything to be run into a septic tank with brown waste. And at the end of the day, you spend thousands upon thousands evacuating this sewage instead of treating the light one and evacuating the heavy one. Minimizing waste, ensuring safety and compliance. There are very simple things that sometimes we just take for granted that can snowball into very big issues. It's inconvenient to tell a client, please, the elevator, has not passed through certain compliance, not been fully commissioned and no certification. Can we manage the stairs until this can be sorted out? Than to say, no big deal, you can use it first. They are still working on it, but they just manage it first. When something happens, the story changes on you. Align FM practices with the broader organization strategy. Our jobs as FM is not to obstruct the organization. It's to understand the organization and align to enable it to achieve its strategy. So all of this broken down means that we as facility managers must be able to look at our workflows. You must be able to write down step by step how things are done. So much is happening in your head right now. And you might have taught your technicians and taught your cleaners, all of this, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. Everybody seems to know what they're doing until they don't. Write it down. For us to achieve this activity, we take step 1, we take step 2, we take step 3. And then while looking at those steps, you now start asking questions. Okay, so why do we have this step before this one? Why do we have this other step inside this process? Is it necessary? Question everything. You rewrite it and you say, oh, I think this is a simpler way of getting it done. This removes this wasteful process. Everybody reasons it out and it becomes a new process. That's what we call value stream mapping. You identify inefficiencies in how things are done. Sometimes some things are done twice. Somebody checks, he comes back, another person checks, the first person to confirm, the last person's check again, the inspector's inspection. At the end of the day, you are doubling activities, increasing costs, wasting time. We're supposed to continuously improve, benchmark with best practices, remove failures or wastage from our system. And this now requires us to always think about 2 key ways to improve. One is understand what we may call the minimum standards defined by regulatory compliance and laws, and then understand customer requirements. Because if you understand customer requirements and you understand the basic compliance requires that you understand the building code and what is not allowed. There are things you cannot do less because the law says you can't. If you understand that, you build on that, the specific requirements of your customers, and then you are delivering to meet their needs. And when it comes to money, we are always the first to be accused. And in more than 90% of the cases, when we are accused of financial recklessness, we are actually being financially reckless. In some cases, we've not even spent enough. It's just that we are not able to demonstrate that even the little that we are managing to do what we need to do, we are not able to demonstrate that we are providing value with them. And that can become a big burden. So it's not so much about spend less. It's about spend sensibly and demonstrate strategic value from what you are spending on. And then when you manage facilities, the only way to show value is if you have data that guides your decision, your reporting. And data at a basic level is, one, know the measures of what you have, how many square meters, the counts of things, how things are described, their conditions. Those are basic. And then as you run your facility, those operating parameters, consumption data, diesel, water, wear and tear, costs related to repair and replacements, the people you are serving, because there are two sides to data, the input into facility management and the consumption or the consumer or the value you are given from facility management. You need to also factor in the number of hours people stay in the building, what they are doing in the building, how many people are there, and so on and so forth, because every liter of water that is expended is used by someone. For what? Every kilowatt hour of electricity is used by. Being able to coordinate this data together and make sense out of it, so that if your cost is going up, for example, can you pin it down to something good happening in the lives of the users? That's how to use data. And then, of course, we're talking about smart technologies. We're going to have a day in this program where we're going to focus on technology and its impact in facility management. Every aspect of facility management is impacted by technology into the systems, building systems, city infrastructure, and everything that we're managing today. Okay. The users of your facilities, we might see them as passive participants or non-participants, in the sense that we are giving them to use the way they like. If you see it that way, you would make your work even tougher or harder to deliver. If I spend enough time engaging with my end user to understand exactly what they are trying to achieve, and as such, prescribe exactly what will help them or enable them to achieve that strategic objective, it becomes, easy for me to communicate to them what they can do to help sustain what I'm putting in place. Picture this. You are the provider of facilities in a school, and virtually every day you have to deal with broken chairs and tables. They pick up the table, they smash it when they are having fun. They pick it up and smash it when they are fighting. They stand on top of it to play. They break screens and break light bulbs for fun. And you are doing all you can to provide them good facility management services. You see, there's a disengagement, there's a misalignment of purpose there. If the students understand, if you have taken time to engage with the students, town hall meetings, building user groups, and discuss what you are trying to do for them based on the programs that the school has for them. And hearing their feedback, you might be able to use that as a way to keep them engaged. If you have 30 of them in a room and 1 or 2 want to be destructive, you'll begin to see a positive peer pressure, because you have started engaging with them to understand, to work together to deliver what's important to them. The same thing happens with staff. Don't tell them, do whatever you like. I'll tell you what you do, and then I don't need to hear from you. No. Encourage a culture of continuous improvement. Give them the right tools to work. Recognize contributions that drive operational success. It's very important that we are making sure everyone are switched on in the team. Measure performance against established benchmarks. Set performance indicators. So many places of work today, especially in our industry, they just employ you and say you are in charge of, just sit down there, if anything breaks, you fix it. No process, no systems. You're just reactive. I'm a facility manager. You're wasting your time. You're not learning anything, you're not getting better. There's no reporting of any sort. Nothing to measure performance against, except the fact that when customers are angry for something that broke down, then you are remembered as a failure. If customers praise you for being friendly and for solving all their problems, you are given praise as effective. But no systems to track, no documentation of that effectiveness. Because you cannot improve, you cannot become better if you don't have a mechanism of tracking your performance with key performance indicators. And these are all driven by data. Manage customer expectations and service quality attributes. Customers, what do customers want? Timely response to requests. They made a request and you show them that you have acknowledged their request. Proactive approach to problem identification and solution. You didn't wait for them to make a request. You were able to say, since I changed that light bulb 4 months ago, I scheduled that after 4 months, I will come and check on the bulb again. Maybe dead, maybe working. But the customer that knows that you will come back to check tomorrow, even if the bulb starts flickering today, will probably not bother. FMs, they know what they're doing. Timely resolution of identified problem. Oh, we are on it. We've picked up the issue. We have logged it in. We have started the process of fixing it. And every day you are on it. No definite time to get it done. You can't commit because you don't know whether you will. You keep saying we are on it. The process is ongoing. Those are actually words that should not come out of the lips of facility managers. You need to tell your clients when things will be resolved. They need to take something. And when you do that, you must meet your words with action. If for any reason it's looking likely that your 10 a.m. is not going to be 10 a.m., by 9:30, immediately go to the client and say, we've met this and that challenge. It may not likely be 10 a.m. I know I promised you 10 a.m. It's most likely going to be tomorrow by 10 a.m. Why do I need to do that? Not after it is 10 a.m. The client will now call, will now say, sorry, it's been raining. That's the beginning of failure for that FM. Timely notification on service disruption. Sometimes the things customers expect from you will fail by itself. No harm involved, act of God, no problem. But immediately it happens, you must engage first before you start fixing. As soon as you understand the problem, you re-engage. This is what we are doing. As soon as you are done, customer has seen results, you still re-engage to say we have done it. And eventually, the final closure, or called closing the loop, is to say, how did we do in this matter? Rate us. Sometimes the disruption is planned. We want to wash tank every Tuesday. We want to fumigate once every quarter. We want to service generator after 250 hours or 200 hours. Whatever it is that you are scheduling, the customer should be carried along. Proper notification through multiple channels. It's not enough to have someone, I've suffered this. A hotel says, oh, we are washing tank. We thought nobody's in the rooms anymore. I was already having a shower. Washing tank is a good thing. If you're going to do it at a particular time, make sure everybody is aware, knows what they can do before, during, and after that activity. Because you are explaining how that activity is going to impact on their normal lives and processes. Timely and regular feedback on progress or anticipated delay in commencement or completion of any job. Under promise and over deliver. Do not, out of excitement, promise more than you can deliver. You have a light replacement service level agreement that says, if a light bulb goes out, I'll fix it in 6 hours. That's the SLA, or 1 day. But because I knew there's a spare bulb somewhere in my office, I tell the clients, I'll be back in 10 minutes with a bulb for you. Only to get there and find out that that bulb was used by another technician for something else. And you had to go get a bulb, and you had to wait for that consignment to arrive in the evening or the next day. You might still be within the service level agreement signed with the customer, but you have created a sour taste for the customer. You promised 10 minutes, and it's taking you hours. All the other things that cost it to turn into hours, and the fact that it's still within SLA, they are just stories. Customers are already disappointed. Keep your integrity and avoid negative perception in your word and action. You must have timely delivery of work. You must have care, respect, and courtesy. You must have effectiveness, cost effectiveness. You must have professionalism in outlook and in action. Good housekeeping, attention to detail in problem identification, scoping, and costing, and job completion certification. There are some things that are supposed to be done consistently. Forgetting to do them is unprofessional. Doing them in half-assed way or doing them well today and not doing them well the next day is disorganized. So this whole customer expectations and service quality attributes has led me to define 5 levels at which facility management is being practiced. I'll talk about these 5 levels, and I want you to write them down because they're not in your materials. And then look at your operations, look at your activities, look at your life and ask yourself, which level am I right now? Start with the first level, what I call the proactive level of service. This is the level at which most of the things you do, in fact, everything you do as a service provider is by design, defined by specifications, schedules, and plans. Your inspections are clockwork, your routine maintenance are clockwork, everything, all your communications are clockwork. Nobody gets to remind you to do anything. Nobody picks up any defect before you have picked it up. Nobody plans for you because you understand what they need and you're planning and acting ahead. That's proactive. But this level is somewhat utopian. It's somewhat idealistic because with the best of efforts, you are still human. So there will still be that once in a while when the boss tells you, do this, or the client says, oh, my preference has changed, adjust to this, or do this and do that. So there will be those kind of interference. But we say at least operate at the second level, what we call the request level. The request level is you are proactive as much as possible, but some things still come to you from the users, from feedback, from the bosses, from the company that you have to act on. And when you act on them, it is touch and go. It's done, it's done. No recall, no rework, no complaint, nothing goes with it. So if you are not 100% proactive, at least don't be more than 20 to 30% reactive. These are the ones they bring to you. And when you deal with any of these reactives, you deal with them finally. Don't fix a plumbing and somebody calls today, you see dripping. Don't fix a generator and somebody see calls you, say, there's something that was not tied well. I'm seeing something, some smoke coming out of so and so parts. Or electrical system is still smoldering. We didn't put the right thing there. No, you do it well. That's level 2. Not too many things come to you because you miss them. You're not proactive for those ones. But when you operate at level 3, which I call the complaint level, it is because many things come to you on the reactive level, and you either do them too slowly, poor quality, or high cost, too much rework, and the receiver of your service still has to come back to you to say, it looks like that thing you did yesterday. Something is wrong with it. So that's the complaint level because it came to you. That's level 3. You want to keep all complaints to 0. That's the standard. That's why I say you can have some requests, but don't have any complaint. Your goal should be to track and count your complaints in form of rework, in form of issues with your job, in form of unhappiness or dissatisfaction, in form of low rating by your customers. Keep it down as much as possible to 0. That's level 3. But if a customer now have a reason after complaining to you to also complain to another person, your boss, his boss, his spouse, anybody that cares to hear, any negative report and escalations written by email or in exchange for in bad communication for poor work done, because the complaints had not even been acted upon well to resolve it finally. That is operating at the level of escalation, which is our 4th level. If I already said that you should have 0 complaints, comments, negative comments that come to you, corrections that come to you, you should have it at 0. What should you have for escalations? Minus Abi, 0. There should be no escalations. In fact, if you are working on a site and the client now has a reason to call the office, your level of failure has reached the sky. Because at level 3 is when the client is still telling you things and you are still fixing. But if the client now begins to see that even that complaint level is not working because they need to get a third-party involvement before you can do it, you have lost the plot completely. That's escalation level 4. Can it get worse? You know, I say there are 5 levels, right? Of course it can get worse. There's a level I call the crisis level. At the crisis level, the users, the clients, your customers have lost complete hope in you, the service provider, in your entire organization, in your entire process and system. They have now resorted to self-help. When customers using a toilet have reached the point where each person has their own toilet roll in their purses, and they have their own bottle of water to wash their hands, and their own hand wash, for example. So whenever they are going to the restroom, maybe even a little bit of gallon of water to flush, you will know that they have given up. Or somebody is coming out of his car into the office and is having an extension box with which is going to connect from one end of the room to the other to have power to power a computer. You know you've lost it completely. People now resort to self-help. They're no longer interested in responding or even calling you for anything. Then you know that you're operating in crisis. So take these 5 levels and ask yourself, what level are you operating in right now? Is it crisis? Is it escalation? Is it complaints? Is it requests? Or is it proactive? Whatever level you are in, your goal is to work towards improvement towards to proactive. You must know your facilities and service scope, asset register, facility condition assessment, compulsory. We'll have a whole class dedicated to how to build an asset register. And we have a whole project dedicated to an asset register that you're going to build at the end of this program. You cannot manage what you don't know. So if you're currently managing facilities right now, you don't have a comprehensive asset register, you are forgiven because you did not know. Now that you know, you're going to work on building an asset register so you can understand what you are managing. You will know how the life cycle plays out on every asset and the activities that you perform on the assets from different life cycle stages to provide the best result and value to your clients. There are standards and specifications. I've talked about this: work procedures, personnel quality, material standards, tools and equipment, HSC, that's health, safety, and environment. We must understand the standards. And I talked about them at 2 levels: the statutory standards compliance and the requirement of your customers. Your customer standards are higher, so you must understand what the customers are trying to achieve. I've extensively talked about this being proactive, and FM job is to ensure that you plan ahead. You execute your daily inspections, you do a preventive maintenance program. You always look ahead at the things you are doing. And then you must have proper documentation. When I'm talking about asset registers and as-built drawings and safety records and occupant details, when you have meetings, to have minutes in place, incidents reports, information about your staff and contractors, and so on and so forth. There are some that are for compliance reasons. If somebody wakes up today and say, give account of your stewardship, you have to have records. There are some that are supposed to be in place for reference purposes. If I want to scope painting, if I want to scope tile repairs, if I want to scope different types of work, I need to be able to look at my drawings and the shadows of materials in my buildings. If I need to engage with my building users, I need to know who they are. And there are some that are for continuous improvement. The numbers that I track to show that I am fulfilling the reason for my calling or my assignment. And then, of course, emergency response, incident reporting. Whenever there are issues, or before there are issues, I should have an emergency plan. One of our projects at the end of this program is emergency plans. And we're going to have a course, a day, where we're going to be discussing all about emergency preparedness and business continuity. And then we're also going to spend so much time in another class talking about health and safety. Who is the chief health and safety officer in your facility? Of course, it's you, the FM. Even if you have a HSC manager in place, they are advisors. You are the one that is the custodian of that space, the custodian of the people that use the space. Their health and safety is in your hands. So you cannot feign ignorance. How can you deploy systems to ensure health and safety? Your health and safety policies, your health and safety plan, different templates for reporting and tracking HSE metrics, tools for implementing safety-related tasks, job safety analysis, toolbox, safety data sheets, and so on and so forth. As FMs will be very, very well acquainted with health and safety on a continuous basis, because we are ultimately accountable for it. The facility manager's job is an inspector's job. You cannot expect what you don't inspect. Don't think that somebody told you it is done, then you check it off. No. You must verify. You must see. You cannot be stuck on your desk every day. In fact, on a typical day as facility manager, you must spend nothing less than half of your time, 50% of the time, being up and about. You would observe people who work for you, and that makes them work better. Follow the process. You would observe your customers, experience their pain points, hear from them, engage with them to understand what they need from you. You will catch anomalies, operational anomalies, issues that can become problem later. You will pick them up. You will take action on the spot to prevent, to forestall, to correct issues, because you are up and about. And you'll be able to give feedback to the people that work with you as well. Plan to execute right. Everything that we do must be planned. In fact, if you spend more time planning, the more complex the task is, the more time you should spend planning compared to the time you spend working on it. And it's not just the task that needs to be done. You start with the objectives that must be accomplished, what you must do to accomplish it, and the risk issues that can prevent you, that can stop you from achieving them. And then mitigation plans. So you have your normal plan. This is what I'm going to do. And then you have the plan for the abnormality that's going to come your way. That's what proactive FM is about. It's not so much about wishing bad to happen. No, you're not trying to wish bad to happen. You are just envisaging that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And I must have an alternative plan to tackle something going wrong. And then, of course, think about your compliance with quality management system. Having processes, mapping these processes, visualizing them, discussing the processes, making them more efficient, and then with implementing the steps of the processes and documenting the outcomes. Okay, so that's our lesson for today. I'm going to open the class now for conversation. Here are your assessment questions. It's in the last slide in your module in the LMS. All you need to do is copy this out, put it in a fresh document, answer the questions in the save the file as your surname and the name of the course, okay? And upload it into the LMS in very tab for assignments and assessments. All right, so I'm going to ask you to turn back on your videos. Let's have a conversation around what you have learned, the questions you have, the actions you would take to do things differently from now that you have been in this class. And this is just one class. There are so many such career transforming opportunities with every class that you are going to engage in. So let's talk. Let me hear from you. Okay. I want to have a feel of what you have written down. Okay. Yes, Innocence. Innocent, what's your other name? Can you tell me your full name?
My full name is Innocent Saturday Fred.
Okay. So let me just help rename your screen. I hope you can do it better for yourself next time. So Innocent Fred, go ahead with your question.
Okay. First of all, I want to appreciate this class and how you've been able to break it down, and especially for me in the area of facility management foundation. I've really taken down a lot from this class, starting from core competencies in facility management, FM strategic enablers, importance of FM, categories of FM services, FM standards and best practice.
Mm-hmm.
FM for sustainability, 5 levels of FM practice.
Yes, very good.
I have a lot. I have a lot on my notes.
Good.
But I have a question.
Sure.
In the area of, you made mention of picking up of slight problems. That is in the area of core principles of operation excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask, my question goes this way. I have, there is a problem, and I try as much as possible to resolve that problem. Let's assume I'm working for an organization.
Mm-hmm.
But the person has refused, maybe the organization has refused to give me the necessary materials or manpower to do a rework of that particular problem. At that point, what can I do?
Okay.
Because if it might lead to, not that they might not, respond to it, but there will be a kind of delay to that particular problem. So at that point, what can I do?
Okay, thank you. I think what you just described is something that sounds like a missed opportunity. I had a chance to do it right. I missed it and I didn't get it right, and I need help to get it right a second time, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The way to do that is first acknowledge that you could have done it well. Right? Learn from that experience. Do a little bit of analysis on what went wrong. Okay. And once that goes through to management, there is a sense of he has learned and this will not happen again. You'll get a faster response. If you attempt to cover your tracks by writing off not fault. Then someone up there will be thinking, you probably are not the one to fix this. I probably need someone else to come and intervene, right? Because if I get a chance to fix something, I didn't fix it right, and I'm saying, give me more resources to fix it again, I might be wasteful at the end of the day, and that will lead to slow response. I think the lesson from that is learn from that mistake, document what could have gone wrong, and show that you have learned from it and you will not let it happen again. That will lead to faster response.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And then, of course, implement total resolution next time so you don't have any rework. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. Whose hand is going up next? Daniel, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. I really enjoyed this training today. When I first learned about this program, I was been following it up on WhatsApp, but I was thinking that the whole discussion is based on the building. But today I'm so excited because this has touched all the areas that I'm operating on. Thank you very much for that. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Right, I'm with you.
Okay. When my question goes like this, when you talk about know your facilities and services, services and scope.
Yes.
I work in an organization that they have a very broad computerized system that all the operation goes through a system. Nothing that is done that is not passed through a system. Does I need to have my own personal record of my activities? And secondly, you made mention of blind spot. I didn't really understand what you mean by blind spot. Thank you.
Okay. If all the information is already documented inside a system, familiarize yourself with them in the system. Okay, that's what it is. Don't take, for example, if you have 1,000 air conditioners and you are managing a campus, right? And a certain request for compressor pops up, and somebody has scoped the compressor and put it in there, and your job is to review and approve. Can you tell if that particular compressor belongs to a room where compressor was replaced in the last 3 months? That's familiarity.
Yeah.
So the data is there, but you must be present in knowing exactly what you have that you are managing. And then you must also be helpful in updating the information. If somebody does anything, it's updated. The time it takes, the cost, the material that was replaced, all updated in the system. Enriching the data that is in that system also enriches your knowledge of what is there. Okay, so you talk about blind spots.
Yes.
There are some aspects of our work that is not so obvious to us. Let me give you a typical example. If you take cleaning, most times you come into a room, you look at tabletops and floors. You see those corners up there behind doors, they are cleaning blind spots. Cobwebs can even build up there. Sometimes the vertical surfaces, horizontal surfaces that are above eye level can be blind spots. There are some things that are dropped in certain corners and nobody pays attention to them. There are maintenance issues that are easy to ignore because it is so gradual. Take, for example, the sound of a belt becoming misaligned. It can be so gradual that you will not pick it until the belt cuts. So we can become so accustomed to dwindling situations or or issues that we should pick up, and then we just get used to it. Take your houses, for example. If you go into your room and you live in that room every day, nothing will smell your nose again. It has become a blind spot for you. You have become accustomed to that smell. If somebody else comes from outside, where he is coming from a fresh air environment, into that space, what's going on here? That person can pick it up because it's not a blind spot to that person. So the things that you easily miss, giving yourself a checklist to help you consciously check them is what we're talking about.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, so that's our class for today. Look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. Please take this time as you are seated to do your assessment and turn it in. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Sir. Yeah, thank you all for joining today's class. It was a great one. We look forward to having you all again, and I'm sure this training is going to impact much in your field. Have a great day, everyone. Good night. Please don't forget to fill the feedback survey as you leave. It's very important.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Not
Good night.